Hello grade 8s and welcome back to WorksheetCloud. I'm Mrs. Goslet and we're going to be doing Midsummer Night's Dream. We're going to look at a specific scene, Act 2, Scene 1. And if you have a question during the lesson, if you're confused or you just want to have something to say to me, I'd love to hear from you, and you can send it to grade8@worksheetcloud.com. Like I said, we're going to look at the play written by Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 1. So just a summary, it's very basic. Oberon's servant tells Titania's to be sure to keep Titania out of Oberon's sight because they're arguing and fighting. For the two are very angry with each other. Titania, he says, has taken a little Indian prince as her attendant. And the boy is so beautiful that Oberon wishes to make him his knight. Titania, however, refuses to give up the boy. So she will not. So we're going to look at some themes. So a theme is order versus disorder. So disorder caused by Oberon and Titania's agreement. The fight between Oberon and Titania indicates that the themes of love and battle between the sexes are also at play in the fairy world. They immediately begin to argue and accuse one another or each other of adultery. Oberon objects. Sorry, I need to sneeze. I think I'm allergic to filming because it always brings out the sniffles. Where was I? Sorry. So Oberon objects to Titania's pride because she should be obedient to him, especially in this time. Women did not go against men. So adultery is the surest sign of love's inconsistency. But no one has cheated on anyone. And I think Oberon wanted all of Titania's attention. But now, because she had a little boy to care for, her attention shifted. And not all of her attention, but he knew that there was going to, he wanted all of her attention and love. Titania's reasons for wanting to keep the changeling, that's just the boy, all seemed perfectly reasonable, but they counter the natural order of woman as subservient to man, and so Oberon will not listen. So she goes against him, and that's very uncommon. Women are obedient in this time and had to do what their husbands said. Sorry. So Titania says that her fight with Oberon has caused winds with great strength, dangerous and unhealthy fog, rivers overflowing their banks, harvests have been prepared in vain, as the wetness from the floods caused them to rot. Flock becomes diseased and die, rheumatic diseases increase, that's the inflammation of joints, etc. So, as you can see here, the fairy king and queen have power over mankind, and their fighting has caused disruption in the natural world, and those are the things you can see which is not good to nature. Then, we spoke a little bit about this flower that has this magic property of, if you put it on a person's eyes, they will wake up and they will, whatever creature they see and wake up, they will fall in love with. And sometimes you guys will always ask me, oh, but ma'am, what if Demetrius woke up and saw a tree? So I said, no, it must be a creature, like a living creature. So what happens, ma'am, if he wakes up and he sees a lizard? So I said, then he will fall in love with the lizard. Oh, cool. So I'm like, no guys, we're not doing what ifs. Let's focus on Demetrius wakes up and falls in love with Helena. Okay, so appearance versus reality. That just means you appear to be something, but in reality it's actually something else. Okay, so let's look. The magical qualities of the love in idleness flower, and it's important for your exams that you must know this name of the flower, and also it's also important for you to get the spelling right of the characters, especially the main characters. I know there's quite a few important characters that you must remember, but just take one day, write their names out, and try make a story. I always do that with and always guide my learners to do that if they struggle with spelling. Also, another sort of tip is look at the question when they ask you. They'll say, who is Oberon? Let's say, for example. Then look at the spelling of Oberon in the question, or they might give you an extract. And there are all the characters' names, so you really don't have an excuse to spelling their names wrong. Okay. So Oberon has decided to use the love juice to rewrite the tragedy developing between Helena and Demetrius into a comedy in which everyone marries happily. But his actors in the play are real people. What's another word for a play in which the actors have no control over what happens? A dream. So that's where A Midsummer Night's Dream gets its name. I also always get that question. But ma'am, there's no dream that happens. But I tell them at the end, all of the characters are found sort of in the forest, and they all wake up and they look at each other, and they feel like they were living in a dream. Different types of love. Okay. Capricious, which means changes easily or given to a sudden, uncountable changes of mood or behavior. I do apologize, behavior spelled wrong. There should be a U. That is an Americanism. So let's look at it. So the theme of love, already in the play, both Hermia and Helena have commented on how love affects the eyes and how love has been described as a kind of external force that overwhelms a person. So while the love juice is magical, it's also a symbol of how love is already viewed in the play. I've got their hashtag magic. So love is magical. And you can see that from Lysander and Hermia. They are willing to run away and start over. It's not easy. In those times, you lived with your parents. Well, I know a lot of people live with their parents. But they had to start all over. They had to find a job, make it work. It's not easy. So they were very brave. She was very brave. Then we're going to look at magic, the theme of magic, illusion, disguise, and mistaken identity. So the theme of magic and mistaken identity is introduced in the scene. So Puck takes on many forms to trick people. He really does. The character Puck, he is mischievous and he's a little bit irresponsible, I'd say. But he's actually the driving force. He drives the plot, and he almost connects the human and the fairy world together. So the opening scene establishes Puck as mischievous. He is mischievous, he is irresponsible, but he means no harm. He just does it for a good laugh. So Puck plays on unsuspecting humans. He frightens maidens, makes beer flat, misleads wanderers so they become lost, and he makes people fall as they go and sit on their stools or their chairs. So he finds that quite entertaining to trick and play with people. Oberon, the king of the fairies. Oberon shows that he is prone to jealousy. So he is jealous when Titania, is dividing her time. His jealousy seems unfounded, as Titania's generosity and loyalty is shown in that she wants to raise the boy, since she and the boy's mother were close. My nose. He expects Titania to submit to him, as he is the king of the fairies. Oberon vows to punish Titania for not obeying him, and he does. He plays a little trick on her. And then Oberon plans to use love as a means of humiliation to humble his too proud wife. Then we're going to look at the character Titania. I spoke about this before, but she's unlike women of the time. Titania disobeys her husband, Oberon. She chooses not to be in his company. She accepts responsibility for her part in the quarrel, or the fight, or the conflict, and the influence it has on nature. She shows herself to be loyal, as she promises to raise her friend's son. So you can't fault her on that. Then Helena. Oh, shame. Poor Helena. So what happens in the beginning? She is good friends with Hermia. And Hermia reveals to Helena that Lysander and Hermia are going to run away. They are going to elope. And then they set off for the forest. And then Demetrius finds Helena and says, "Where is Hermia?" And she spills the beans. So it's almost as if she didn't spill the beans, Demetrius would never have run after Hermia, because he wouldn't know where she was. So Helena says to him, but more in a roundabout way, she almost says, "Why don't you love me? Am I not good enough?" And she even compares herself to a dog. So here it says, she humiliates herself by comparing herself to a dog, but simultaneously reminds him of her loyalty. So it's not good because she's desperate. And she's saying to him, "You can beat me like a dog, but I'll just keep coming back. I'll still come and love you, no matter how badly you treat me." And that's not okay. You should never tell anyone that you can treat me badly. You don't have to love me, but I'm still going to come chasing after you. So that's why I struggle with her character in the beginning a bit, because she seems so desperate. And there you can see at the top it says, Helena shows that she lacks confidence. But this stems from Demetrius forsaking her for Hermia. He doesn't care about her. He treats her really poorly, and he tries to get the picture to her. He tries to say, "I don't love you. I don't want to be with you." But she still, "You can say that. I'm still going to come running after you." And then that's when Demetrius just runs into the forest or the woods to chase after and to find Hermia. I don't know what he's going to do. He's going to say sort of what she's saying, "Please love me. Think about it. You can't be with Lysander. Your father doesn't want it. I can give you happiness." Who knows? So then you have the three of them in the forest. What does Helena do? She runs after Demetrius. And then you're like, "No, what are you doing? You can't do that." But yeah, let's look at her character some more. She seems melodramatic and hysterical, which makes her laughable and a pathetic character. So you do feel sorry for her, but there is a line, and many of you will see it. You'll say, almost like, get the point, like, leave him alone. He doesn't like you. But I guess it pays off in the end, because if she wasn't in the forest or the woods, Oberon would never have seen it, because she carries on desperately running after him and no one's running after her. And obviously her luck changes, which I'm happy for her. I'm really happy that her luck changes and Demetrius does eventually fall in love with her. And that's what she really wanted. So why do I have a tiger here, a crying face, and I've got a deer? So she claims that she's a deer pursuing a tiger. Now, how ridiculous is that? A tiger eats a deer. Now, the deer, which is, the tiger will eat, I can't. Anyway. So, this is exactly what it is. This makes it difficult for the audience to take her seriously because she is a laughable character. And you almost just need a best friend. This is where she needs a best friend to step in and say, stop. So Helena uses flattery to manipulate Demetrius. She says that his presence lights up the dangerous forest and it makes it safer for her. Okay, so she does try to win him over. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson on Act 2, Scene 1. It seems like a lot is going on, where we have the fairies arguing and Oberon becoming jealous and trying to then also make fun and humiliate Titania. He also wants to try and help Helena, where Demetrius pour that love and idleness on his eyes so that he can wake up and fall in love with Helena. We also have Puck the fairy, who's a very important character, because he, as I said before, drives the plot. He drives the action. He gets everything going, and he makes a mistake, which also makes it quite entertaining and funny. And now he's got to fix his mistake. And that's sort of what happens throughout all the scenes, because it causes a lot of confusion and chaos. There is an activity for you to do before you or after this. I just have to sneeze again. I do apologize. I find this very strange. I don't sneeze when I teach, when I'm at school. It's you guys. You guys are making me sneeze. But anyway, I'm so glad you didn't have to witness me sneezing because it's not pretty. Then if you have a question, grade 8s, please send us an email with that question or comment or anything to grade8@worksheetcloud.com. This is our motivational quote for today. Nobody is good at everything, but everybody is good at something. Find and focus on your strengths. I think that is super cool because each and every one of you are good at something or have a passion or have a talent, and sometimes it takes time to find that, but hopefully this is a reminder to tell you that you are good at something. Thanks so much, grade 8s, for listening and watching me. I'm Mrs. Goslet, and we had a lovely time today. I absolutely loved teaching you. It's been amazing, and thank you so much again. This was brought to you by WorksheetCloud. Goodbye. So long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Adieu, adieu to you and you and you. If you know the Sound of Music, that is where it's from. If you don't, it's all good. Bye, grade 8s.